Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Bod Squad, the show where we talk about streaming devices, content, and providers, pretty much anything that we come up with last minute. I'm Clyde. Today I am joined by my good buddy Matthew Ross.
Hey, Clyde.
Michael Aston.
Howdy.
And Jimmy Trammell is coming to us all the way from Tallahassee, Florida.
Ooh.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
How's Tallahassee?
Yeah, rainy, muggy.
Oh, that's
But
not
you're
so
in
good.
that swanky Marriott, right?
Well, I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's all that swanky, but yeah, it's a Marriott.
It's swanky in name.
They have the best names, don't they, Marriott?
Yeah. It's like saying, oh, I drive a Cadillac. Well, it might be some beat up piece of crap, but hey, you're driving
It's a
a Cadillac. Yeah, hey. No, it's
Clyde, you seem like you're running a little behind today.
Oh, it's just been a stupid day. I got home and I was like, sweet, I've got like 2 hours. I can get this. And then just one after another, things were not quite working out. And I was like, crap. But
okay.
You know what? We made it. And we're relatively on time. So that is all that matters. We are live here on Channel 1, DCTV.
Very cool.
So everybody out there in the chat room that's catching this, come join us. But unless you guys have any other reason to say no, well, why don't we get into the feed?
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Well, this week we got a decent amount of news coming out relatively recently. Mostly we had a couple updates from Roku. Looks like that they just recently came out and dropped prices on many of their streaming boxes. Looks like they've got everything from the Roku Ultra from $110 all the way down to the Roku Express and Stick down to $40. These little drops bring them basically in line with the other competing players from the Amazon Fire Sticks and the Fire TVs and the Google Chromecast. So these are really good for all the consumers out there looking for various boxes. It's good on them for making these little changes.
I would say that these price drops are pretty much in line with the fact that they're all about a year old, and we haven't gotten any new announcements. So, I mean,
No, well, I feel like we just got the announcement for the Premiere Plus and the Ultra not that long ago. It doesn't feel like it's been a year.
summer, wasn't it?
Maybe.
It's been at least several months,
Yes.
not this year. It was at least towards the end of last year. I don't know.
I want to say it was like back when we first started. So it would have been like August, September time frame when they. So we're closing. That's why I was saying we're coming up on about a year that all the new products were announced. So it's about time that those prices start falling. And that's good. I would hate to see them go with the Apple model where even though it's a year old, it's still the same price, even though there is no replacement yet. So
Yeah. I mean,
Jimmy wasn't here for the Apple discussion last week, so or was that? I don't remember.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. So we're still getting our jabs in.
Well, one thing I mean, as a consumer, I like seeing those price drops, especially when it's, almost a year old equipment. But also too, as a supporter of the Roku platform, It does make me a little nervous when they start dropping prices like that. Like, hey, is Roku having trouble? Or are they going to go away? Are
Oh
they,
no, I mean,
that
No,
kind of
I
thing.
mean, consider that this Roku, like the Ultra, is basically comparable in feature set to the Fire TV. The Fire TV is $90, and the Ultra was dropped from 130 down to 110. So it's still a $20 premium, which is more than 20%.
and it's essentially still the same box as the Roku 4, which
Right.
originally started out at that price point too. And I mean, if you look historically at Roku, all the way back to their earliest boxes, they have consistent price drops until they price the device out of the market, and it's superseded by something else. So,
All right.
yeah, I'd say typical, about what I would expect to see, and rock on. If you were kind of holding off on getting a Premiere or a Premiere Plus, because that 129 price tag, maybe you might want to take a look now.
Is it only the Premiere Plus that has 4K?
No.
The Ultra does as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Ultra, you get the nifty earphones with it too, though. So that's totally worth $20.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
actually, that's that I know, because the week we did the Roku, when we did the Roku show, and that was what episode 1, 2. We talked about each of these models. We had that the grid that showed the features.
Yep.
And Patreon won't shut up.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. So if you want to know, about the different models that have been their prices dropped, if which one's good for you, go back in the archives on YouTube. Find one of our earlier episodes entitled something about Roku. I don't know. It's got Roku in the name. Pretty easy to find.
Moving on, we have another story from Roku. It looks like they've announced a new update for a Roku OS version 7.7. They said that it'll start rolling out to popular Roku line of device players, and there's a huge list of various things that this should do for updates. Anything from making it a little bit more stable, making it so it can show you handle screen mirroring better, as able to show playback of files that are on your USB stick if it's an MPEG 1 or an H.263, which apparently is a big feature people have been asking for. If you have the Roku TV, it handles the TV antenna better, and the scanning the channels. It'll warn you about losing your current channel feeds if you do the scan. It's a bunch of back-end little things, it looks like. That and also apparently a minor refresh to the interface as well.
Yeah. And
but interestingly enough, I was on my Roku yesterday when this was supposed to be released. I didn't see it.
Oh, 7.7 hasn't been released yet.
Oh,
like
it says it's rolling it out.
No, they are gonna be rolling it out. We're at that point where, because just like 7.6, we were getting, as beta testers, we were getting additional updates. Even the day that 7.6 was rolling out, got an emergency email saying, hey, everybody go out and update right now, because they had to push a last minute fix to fix something else that popped up last second. And so it's probably going to be the same way with 7.7. But before the show, we were talking, there was an article that I had mentioned that was putting out a whole bunch of information that didn't seem right to me. Luckily, that was a different article. That was different information. So I have nothing to dispute on the list of this, so you can take that as a good thing. Because
So you're under NDA. There are things that you know that we don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Neither confirm nor deny.
You can neither confirm or deny. Are you excited?
I can neither confirm nor deny if I am under NDA.
Oh, really?
Or
You
if
can't
I'm
even do that.
excited. Or no,
Oh.
no, I'm under NDA. I
Sounds
will
like,
say that this should come as if you're like Sergeant Muffin and you had problems with 7.6, you should be jumping for joy that 7.7's coming out so quickly, because we just got 7.6 a couple weeks ago. So,
Okay.
and yeah, I think when 7.6 started, we were already testing 7.7, like that same day. So there, I gotta say, since I've been beta testing with them, I am really impressed with Roku, that their team is actually interested in feedback, very active, and they are always asking for suggestions, which you never get from other places. They don't say, what do you want to see? What did this not provide to you that you really need? What are we missing? And so Roku, I continue to say thank you. I don't know.
So when they actually release this, you'll then be off a double secret probation to where you can actually speak about it?
Yep.
Excellent.
But,
Man, hurry up, Roku.
unfortunately, I'll probably be under NDA for the next version. For But that's okay. I can still talk about 7.7.
Okay. And I do agree with Joltman. I think that's a lucky release.
Yeah.
777s, yep.
Moving on, we have a story from Fubo TV. Remember them? They're the little company that we talked about and trying to seem like they're trying to butt into this big group of various streaming services with a unique idea of doing a sports centralized skinny bundle. And they got themselves a little bit of money. They went ahead and got themselves a little bit of $55 million for them to raise to invest into their service and try to get themselves going, which is a pretty big deal. I'm pretty impressed that these guys have been able to raise this kind of capital, especially since they're not on the first ones I think of the various streaming services out there. But we keep coming up with stories with these guys. We need to make sure and keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
They still don't offer like a DVR service, and ultimately, I feel like that is the barrier for most people. Especially, it may be less of a big deal for sports, where people tend to want to consume their sports closer to real time because they want to be able to not be spoiled about the scores. They want to be able to tweet what's going on with their friends and stuff like that, or maybe even engaging in it directly with their friends in the room. But with regular TV shows like our next story, CBS, Viacom, NBC kind of stuff, I think that the DVR becomes a much more important feature, and I think that will be a big barrier for the bundles that they're talking about here, getting any kind of purchase without having that DVR functionality.
Yeah,
I'm just reading here that it looks like that their cheaper soccer-centric version of the service has signed close to 100,000 subscribers. Well, that's not a bad start.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, soccer is huge outside of the United States, and people that like soccer are seriously into it. They would rather, I suspect, watch it when it's happening so that they don't get spoiled on it, so they can be part of the energy and the excitement of what's going on as it's happening, and and it makes total sense for that kind of live sporting event. But geez, like I said, for your evening show, even if you are going to still watch it the night it comes out so you don't get spoiled at work the next day, or so you can chat with friends about it, you're still probably going to time shift it a little bit and skip commercials and things like that.
I was actually, as you were saying that, I was going to go the other way in the fact that their barrier to entry is the fact that they're sports. That's a huge barrier to entry for me. And I know there's a lot of people like me, but hey, well, if they hit that niche market though, good. We need that.
But I think that's a fair point though, Clyde. Because cord cutters actually sports watchers? I'm sure there's going to be some. Michael is one, right? But I would say maybe the bulk of cord cutters probably are not all that much.
Well, and
sports
that's why
watching.
ESPN has been hemorrhaging so much money, because it turns out sports isn't the big a deal that, they always made it out to be, as they're
Well,
losing numbers. But
I think part of it isn't so much that people that watch sports aren't cord cutters. People that really care about sports didn't have a good choice for cord cutting until recently. And so you wouldn't have had somebody that was like super passionate about their football team or about their soccer team giving up the sports channels on cable TV and trying to find ways to get that content that they care so much about, and maybe having to watch it a day or two later or whatever. So that wasn't really an option. So I think that what you're going to find is, as there are more valuable, viable, good options for sports, people are going to be a lot less interested in having cable TV at a higher premium price and having to deal with all of the DVRs and all of the headaches that are related to that. So I think that, yeah, to some extent, maybe that's like not the prime cord cutter, but I think that the main reason that they are not big time cord cutters is because of that barrier. And what I agree with Clyde in that, like, that's where the niche that Fubo can fill. And I kind of feel like this is them deviating from their niche, and it's a potential problem for them, because if they don't have a strong brand message, then they kind of muddy the waters and stuff. So I'd be a little concerned about that, honestly. This is a potential mistake for them. They don't have the DVR and the functionality that I think that is necessary to meet this audience's need, and yet they're kind of muddying the waters of what their brand really stands for. Where Fubo before, to me, it was soccer and other sports, but soccer was the thing that stood out. Now it's kind of like, yeah, we're kind of hacking at being a TV service, and hopefully it's going to work. But now they're just directly competing against the other services.
Oh, and just clarification to those out there, we're talking about Fubo, the sports channel, not Fubu, the clothing that we are not allowed to wear.
Right.
Yes, I did say the wrong thing, I think.
Before we get the angry hate, I am not going to bust out a Fubu shirt. You don't have to yell at me. So,
well, we have a related story from Fubo TV that apparently they used a little bit of that $55 million to get CBS to come along and join their streaming service. Looks like at the $35 a month level, you'll be able to get most of the channels from them, including the CBS Sports Network, the CW, Pop, and the online news service CBSN, which basically means that there's going to be a lot of the CBS-based sports, particular football, that will be on this for you to watch. So,
yeah.
This is them finding their niche. And by the way, we said it's find that niche. It's a really big niche, sports is. So. Yeah. This is good. This is again, they are doing a good job of finding
highly fractured, though.
Yeah,
I mean, the golf crowd isn't going to necessarily stick around for curling, but the curling crowd might stick around for hockey.
Well, see, okay, so that's an interesting point, Clyde. In the way that I think about this whole thing, this whole sports thing, is that. I mean, there's a lot of good streaming services out there already. I mean, you got your Netflix, your Hulu, your Sling TV, all these different streaming services. And to me, sports in general, I mean, the ESPN model on cable seemed to make sense at the time, to where now I think for streaming, I think it should be, rather than centering a service around sports, right? I think that you should be able to pick a certain sport as an add-on to a Netflix, Hulu, Sling TV, what have you, right? I think that's the better model for a company like this, rather than trying to build everything around all types of sports.
I would agree to an extent, because it depends what you're looking for. If you're one of the people that just want sports on, you don't necessarily care what. So Go back to ESPN in the 90s. Before they had the major league contracts, they just had sports, and there were people or bars or places where TV was on. It was just sports. It may be some hunting show, or it may be golf or croquet. You don't know.
But-
it's just sports. And
But you
that's all
know,
they care about.
but most sports are seasonal, right?
Exactly.
So in the fall, you might want to subscribe to the football service. In the winter, you might want to subscribe to the basketball or hockey service. In summer, you might want to subscribe to baseball or golf, right? So, to where, to have all sports all the time, in the cord cutting world, I don't know if that's really a wise way to go. I would say, subscribe to a single sport. So maybe in the fall, I subscribe to football. In the winter, I subscribe to basketball, and so on, just like that, as opposed to everything all at once, right?
So, I mean, there's a couple of things I kind of want to mention here. First of all, this service actually is a little bit appealing to me because one of the problems I had last year was I couldn't easily get CBS Sports to watch some of the Boise State games. So this service might actually be the solution for me for the Boise State football season, where I can get all of the shows that I want to get. So I'll be kind of keeping an eye on that as the season starts up in a few months. And it might be that that this Fubo is the show that I swap out for my PlayStation View during the football season, and then I either go back to View or I just give up on it. So it definitely has a niche, but I do also agree with you, because one of the things when I was looking at helping my parents cut the cord was my dad watches the Golf Channel, and at the time there were no streaming services that offered the Golf Channel. Now, I know that a couple of them have picked it up since then, but this was the first one that announced they were going to have the Golf Channel. So that was something to think about. Now, their sports package that included the Golf Channel was like $40 a month or something. So it was kind of, it didn't make sense to cancel cable TV to pick that up, along with all of the other things that my parents get out of cable TV. But, so there are things, and I completely agree with you, Jimmy, about how it would be great if I could just subscribe to, for me, it would even be great if I could just subscribe to a team. If I could pay $10 a month and know that I'm going to get all of the Boise State games, I would totally do that.
I think everybody would want that. I mean, who cares watching something else?
Yeah.
Boise State streaming. BSS. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, somebody steal that idea and do it, because I would love it. I would totally be willing to pay the money.
Okay.
That's the ultimate. Or, instead of adding HBO through Amazon, add golf. You said, Jimmy, that would be great. Just having an Amazon channel that you can just add on and just be like, yep, I want golf. Boom. Pay the $10 a month during the golf season. And then when the golf season ends, Amazon stops charging you, which they already kind of do that. Mm-hmm. They do a really good job with their subscription service. It's really easy. So that would be brilliant. I would totally sign up for that.
Except they didn't do that for Anime Strike. And we'll talk about that later.
We should move along. I'm going to go ahead and move into our next story, which is that Amazon has got their streaming service where you can go ahead and add on different packages like HBO and Cinemax and Showtime. And guess what? Now you can start using your login for Amazon, just like you would for any other cable provider, and get to be able to use that login on their apps. So it's official. Amazon streaming is now officially a cable provider in that point of view. And you will be able to now use it in their local app. So if you want, what is it, HBO Go that's the sign-in one for HBO? There you go. You can go ahead and get on it right now and use it.
Yeah, HBO Go is the one that requires you to authenticate with a provider.
Right. So now you can do that. You can get your subscription service and watch it right in Amazon, and makes me very happy because it goes outside the silo. You can go outside the silo and use your login using their own native app. So it's very nice.
Yeah, and Showtime as well. They mentioned.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is great. This is Amazon just providing the full feature of services that people are getting in other places. And yeah, you're paying for it. So why shouldn't you get the same feature you would with other companies? You know, if you paid for the premium HBO through your cable provider, you'd get this functionality, at least with most cable providers. So why would you not be able to get it with Amazon? You're paying the same thing basically to them. It's great. It's kind of a no-brainer.
I don't get this though, because so it is HBO Now, because if you're buying HBO through Amazon, that's not HBO Go, it's HBO Now. Right. That doesn't require you to authenticate with a third party. You just log in with your HBO account. So why would you want to log in with your Amazon account?
Well,
I don't get that.
Wait a second. If you're on Amazon and you subscribe to HBO, are you getting HBO Now, or are you just getting HBO through Amazon?
No, it's HBO Now, and it says right here, according to the company, HBO Now will allow Amazon customers log in on the desktop iOS, and I don't get why you would want to do that. That's like saying, oh, you can now log into your Windows PC with your Gmail login. Well,
I totally
no, but when you do the HBO subscription through Amazon, it doesn't have you go out and create an HBO account or anything like that. It just directly bills you in your Amazon account. You never interact with the HBO systems at all.
Okay, so this is addressing. This is actually addressing a problem that Amazon created.
Right.
So it's not hooray. It's about freaking time.
Sure.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said. This is a no-brainer. This makes sense. It's what they should be doing. When I had HBO with them during our HBO trial thing that we did, I signed up through Amazon. It was super easy and super quick, and I never even had to think about paying for it or how I was going to pay for it. It just build my Amazon account. When I was done, it was a couple of clicks to cancel. Really easy. I liked that. Mm-hmm. But at least at that time, my only option for viewing it was through the Amazon website or through my Fire TV. And so that was a barrier. Now I can use the HBO Now app.
Yay! That's my happiness for being outside the Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, and that probably has to do with the fact that I don't subscribe to any of these through Amazon, so I would not have experienced that problem. But got it. Well, in that case, hooray!
Yep, I'm excited because that's good for us. Well, we have one other story. It's Mohu has been announced. They got a lot of updates to their line of indoor antennas, and it looks like they have one that particularly is really exciting to me because it pushes up to 65 miles worth of away, which means that I can actually use this and possibly pick up decent channels where I live. So this little guy.
So it's not a 65-inch antenna?
I don't know. I didn't look at the size. I didn't look at the size. Maybe it is. Maybe that's how they get the extra miles out of it.
It's a mile. You get a mile per inch.
Hey, if it works, I'll do it. I'll put it right on my wall.
Yeah, but the nice thing is, if you have a 65-inch TV or a 70, you put it on the wall behind the TV that's the same size, right?
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's not that big. It's gonna be about this big though. It is, and that's cool because I've got because that one looks more like 16:9, whereas I've got the old 4x3 one that works pretty well.
Jokeman points out that the 3/4 of all the antennas on the market are scams, and so they don't. that they don't actually do the range that they report, and that may be true. Mohu is a brand that I would probably trust.
I can say that, yeah, Mohu makes a really good antenna. It's reasonably priced and good quality. Because I tried like the Philips version of the Mohu Leaf, and it was okay, but once I put in the Leaf, it was like, oh wait, there's like 20 channels that I wasn't picking up before that all of a sudden they're there. And so
I got a question about Mohu. So what happened to the Mohu antenna that was going to transmit over your Wi-Fi?
It's still for sale. You can buy it on their website. Yeah. It's only set at a max range of 30 miles. For me.
So are they actually selling it? Last time I saw it was still coming.
I believe it is. I think they call it the Wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it for sale now?
Yeah. I saw it the other day, I think. It's still for sale. This was just basically an upgrade to their existing product that's been on the market for 10 years.
Right. So the 50 became
finally
65.
Getting a better refresh.
Yeah, still considering it says coming soon, the Airwave. It's not officially out yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
coming this Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Is that what it says? Oh, well, at least we have a date now.
Just in time for back to school.
Yeah. Oh.
You're back to school? You get to watch all that TV when you're... Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
After school.
Just in time for football.
Yeah. But you can't get football over the air anymore, can you?
Not very much.
Yeah. Not a whole lot, really.
Not unless it's traditional football.
Yeah.
And you happen to be within range of Univision.
Yeah.
Then you can watch lots of football on your over the air.
Football, go!
Well, definitely not Thursday night football, that's for sure, right?
No, that's on CBS. All right, we have Netflix. One last story is Netflix's new adventure. They've gone ahead and released a new kind of television streaming, which is one where you get to choose which way the story goes as you're watching. It's kind of a choose your own adventure style interactive storytelling. And they've started off with a couple of kids shows, which probably is a safe bet on their part. But this is an interesting story to me because I've always been curious when we're going to see these truly interactive style of shows where you get to choose where things go and what things happen. And this is just dipping their toes into that concept. But now that it's something that's live on their service, I'm curious, and I want to see who can do some really good storytelling with this.
I have to admit I'm intrigued, but I don't know if it's something I'm excited about.
Oh, I could talk about this. I'm totally excited about this.
And I remember, and I did have a ton of those choose your own adventure books when I was a kid in the 80s. I mean, you just got them. They showed up in your Christmas stocking. There was like, you go away to camp and then there's like one sitting on your bed when you get back and it's like, what? Where do these keep coming from?
I guess my question about this story is, okay, does this go beyond kid stories? I mean, it works for kid stories, right? I get that, right? But I mean, like, would you want to choose which? I mean, if it was the movie The Matrix, would you want to see him pick the other pill?
Absolutely.
It'd be a really short movie.
Well, no, you find out that there was actually the choice was an illusion, and you still have to go through it. But unless you go back and watch both, then you don't know that because you still end up at the same. The illusion of choice was yours as well.
I think it would be great if they just did a 2-hour movie of him just going to work every day and hating his life. Man, this really sucks. I should have taken the other pill.
Well, wasn't that Office Space?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
See, that's another good movie. I'm okay with either movie there. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about this. The thing is, it's great that Netflix and a company that is known for producing good content is getting into kind of more experimental stuff. This kind of stuff is happening like on YouTube and stuff. If you remember the video, like I think it was called The Room or something like that, where it was like a stream of videos, and at the end of each video you clicked on one of the two links and it would show you the different video based on your selection, and it was all about like being trapped in a room or something. And I didn't ever actually play it, but I'd heard a lot about it. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff happening out on the internet, and small creative shops doing and individuals doing neat things like this. And there's apps that you can kind of have a simulated choose your own adventure with like animations and stuff, but most of them aren't done very well, and the ones that are just they don't ever get super popular because they're backed only by an individual or a small group.
Yeah,
so it's
pretty
really
niche.
Yeah, but this is really cool to see Netflix getting into this market and trying to do something that is not just producing standard content. And I'm excited about it. I think that this kind of stuff is the future for sure, whether it be kind of subtly interactive like this or heavily interactive like a VR type scenario. But it's awesome and it's great, and I'd love to see more of this kind of content. I'll probably try watching this with my kids sometime in the next week or so.
I like the timing of this one because it's right after Cord Killers postulated the question. I mean, what else could they do to shake up? What new could they do? And the obvious path went down VR, but then this is almost like Netflix going, whoa, no, we got this.
So here's how I see it. There are basically three kinds of stories you could tell, or four if you want to count the standard. You have no choice. You are seeing a movie linearly, just how it's played out in the standard movie. The other way you could see it is something that no matter what you do, you still get right back on the rails again, and you're basically seeing the same movie, whatever choice
Detours,
you get. You see little diversions, but no matter what, you get right back to how the story's supposed to go. That's another story you can see with this. The one that I'm kind of interested in probably an easier one, is one where you can split off into multiple different ways of where it could go, but it does end up going right back down to the same story is being told. And no matter what, it ends up with an ending. It all comes down to the single point. And then you have the option where it either splits off into two different optional endings or multiple endings. So we have all these different ways we could tell a story. Now, the kind that I really wanted to see, I think I might have talked about this before, is that kind where it splits off but ends up going to the same point. But I want to do that where it's telling the story, it's linear, it's absolutely whatever is happening in the movie is happening in the movie, but I want to follow the bad guy this time and see it from his point of view. And I want to follow this side character and see what she has to do to where she gets to this point where she does this critical thing. And this time I want to follow, it splinters off, and I want to see this various thing. And from the different point of views, even though the exact same thing is happening, by the end you see the ending. But because you saw it from completely different point of views, you got a completely different telling of the story that you would totally enjoy.
You described Arrested Development, the last season.
Every episode was a different telling of the same story.
Essentially.
Very cool. I didn't watch that show.
Matt, my advice is take the red pill.
Yeah.
I think your wife would appreciate the blue though. But
oh.
Blue
double entendre, man.
Right?
There.
Win-win. Nobody's shooting at you, and your wife's happy. Always take the blue pill.
Boy. So what's next?
Well, we could see this happening with the VR solution. VR seems like an obvious because you get to see so much stuff around you. You could go in any direction with that. It's a natural for that one to go like that. So, but let's start with this simple stuff. Let's start with just going down two different ways and seeing where the ending is. I mean, how many video games have we had where there's a good ending and there's a bad ending? I mean, those are basically the same thing. So,
yeah, no, I could see getting into this. Because I immediately flash back to like games like Riven. I don't know if you guys played Riven, the sequel to Myst. But it was kind of like that where it, no matter how you completed the game, you ended up in the same place, but there were like 5 multiple endings. Depending on your action in the very last puzzle, then there was there was 5 different outcomes. And that was cool. I enjoyed that because I was lucky enough to save right before and then realized, oh, wait, and went back and did it over and over and over. So I got to see all 5 of the endings. One of them was like, oh, yeah, probably a good thing I didn't do that. But no, I could do that. I don't think I have the attention span, though, to go through an entire story again under just because it's somebody else's point of view.
So here's another very cool thing about this, though, is in the story, there's certain platforms for Netflix that can choose your adventure, and there are certain platforms that it just doesn't work on. For example, you watched on the web viewer right now, that doesn't work. You can't choose which way you'd go down on the Netflix show.
Yeah.
So it picks one for you. I don't know if it ends up showing you both possibilities, but it just picks one for you. Now, here's the thing. What if it picked one at random? Or if you didn't choose within a certain amount of time, it picked one at random for you. So no matter what, the story was still moving. You weren't just sitting there kind of waiting for some input. And so you watch it again, you happen to get a different ending. You get a different story told, even though you watched it again.
See, that right there, you just described what would prevent me from watching it in the first place. Because my brain has this, if I know that there are multiple things to be experienced, then I have to do it. I'm not, I'm not going to just run through the one random one that I choose or is chosen for me. Then it's like, because I know there are other things that should have been experienced. Crap. Now I'm obligated mentally, and it's going to bug me and drive me crazy. So then it's like, not even worth the hassle. Skip it.
See, I would
come back to it.
I would have a director's cut where, okay, this is the one we want you to watch. The director would choose for you to watch. It's the best one because it has the coolest ending and the coolest twists. This is the standard one. This is what you would be getting. Then you have like the random choice. So I don't care what happens, just randomly pick for me, or let me choose, or whatever you have. Have those options available to you. It makes perfect sense to me. And I know we were discussing in the chat about all these different styles of choose your own adventures, and I was just thinking, oh yeah, I remember Dragon's Lair. I played that. You take one false step and you die. So imagine a version of this like Dragon's Lair. You kill yourself. Oh, can't go that way. Oh, can't go that way. Oh, can't go that way. I don't want that. I don't want that.
No, where you have to keep going over and over and over. Although I did enjoy Dragon's Lair. That's just ridiculous.
I don't know.
One thing. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, Matt, but I don't know. To me, that seems like I try to apply that train of thought to movies that I've liked, right? Such as Star Wars, right? Well, I suppose you could build some of that in, but if you look at the Star Wars model, what they do is they just make sequences or prequels or something of that sort, of the movies that they make. Do I want a choice to see? I mean, they kind of, if you look at the last Star Wars movie, they kind of did that in a way, but they just made another movie as opposed to having a choice. Which storyline do I want to go?
But you did have a choice whether you wanted to go see it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the thing is, we all know you're going to watch it, right? I mean, the thing is, I think most people will do like what you were just talking about, Clyde. If you give them a choice, well, then you'll obviously want to go back through and see the other choice.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if I choose the other choice? Right?
I
Exactly.
really don't think this format would work for all kinds of movies and shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the key here is that this is not TV. It's not a movie. It is a different type of entertainment that is a cross between video games, choose your own adventure books, and movies. It is video content that adapts, and we've actually seen this kind of stuff in video games. There have been some early video games back in the Dragon's Lair, Adventure Time, adventure games, old style adventure games. There were a few, and I can't remember the names of any of them, but there were a few of them that actually used video and did some really horrible video sequences and cinematics between basically low quality adventure walking from room to room. You walk into a room and you choose something, and then you see like a cinematic that's like a minute long, and then you go to the next thing. You've seen that this stuff has existed in games in the past, and like I said, it's just that it's never been done well, and it's never been done big. There may have been people that have done it small and done it well, or people that have done it big and done it poorly, like those video games that I'm referring to. But it's never been done well. It's never been done big in combination. And so if you get this done well, I think it can be a compelling and entertaining solution for some people. It's definitely not going to be something for everybody, but I do think it would be super exciting and really fun for me. And I also love the fact that you combine that along with the voice functionality that you get on most devices nowadays. So like with your Fire TV or your Roku or your Apple or whatever, you'd be able to actually communicate with the device in a meaningful way rather than just arrow over and click the option. You could speak a response and have it respond. And I think we're really close to being able to interact with the video in a way that makes you actually feel like you are somewhat involved in the movie, and again, this wouldn't be a movie, but somewhat involved in the experience that you're viewing. And that would be cool to me.
Yeah, I guess it would be cool. I don't know. I mean, I definitely would keep an open mind to this, but I mean, I don't know. To me, still, when I think about it, it seems to me like it would only work in two situations, right? One is kids shows, right? Like what we've talked about, and the other would be porn.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it already is. There were DVDs that did that back in like the early 2000s. I remember that was when DVDs, there was a DVD salesman that's what he was pushing. It's like, this is why you need a DVD player, because it's got enough room. You've got alternate scenes. When you get to this point, you press a specific button to choose what you want, whatever to happen.
Whatever scene you want to see. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's been done. It just hasn't been done on Netflix. So,
and somehow I don't think that will ever make it on Netflix.
Well,
probably not.
You don't know. They might have a Netflix
After Dark
adult. Yeah,
Netflix After Dark.
Netflix with 3 X's,
it's
right?
Smutflix.
No, I should have seen that one. I'm upset that I didn't see that one first.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but I'm curious. I want to see some of these big name storytellers. I want to see the big directors come out there. I think with the big story writers come out there and actually think this through, think up of a good story all the way from the beginning to end, to cover all the angles and see what they can do with this. I'm not just the simple stuff. I want to see something that goes beyond that, and then I want to judge it and see if it's something that we should be looking at for the future, which I think it might be. I really do think so. I don't know if we're going to be going to the movie theaters and all have little clickers to click on, and we're all voting which way things should happen while we're watching the movie. I don't think that's going to happen. But come on, this is going to be going. This would be cool. I mean, who remembers the movie Clue?
Oh yeah.
So when you went to the theaters to watch the movie Clue, I didn't see it. I was too young at the time. You would go to the theater, and you would watch the movie, and it had a funny ending because this time because that person did it, and then you'd leave the theater and you'd talk to your friends and say, "Yeah, I saw it too, but that's not how it ended." Actually, in the theaters, it showed various versions of the endings in different theaters. They sent out the reels with different endings to different theaters. So you could have had Professor Plum doing it. You could have had, Mrs. Peacock, whatever. You had you had the butler doing it in one of them. You had the various different endings, and that was a cool thing. This is again touching on this subject of having the different endings as being a good thing for people. So.
Well, the thing is, I think it comes down to money too, right? So would it be more of a money maker movie if you had alternative endings like that, or just make a sequel?
Yeah,
good question.
I don't know. I mean, I do think it's something new. It's something that you don't see much of right now. I am open-minded and want to see it. I would even try this out myself. I mean,
they could do the sequel thing if they make sure all the time, or whatever you do ends up going down to a single event, even if you're from different points of view. You could still do the sequel thing. You could say, no matter what. Also, you could have the dream sequence where it doesn't matter how it ended. That can happen too. There are creative ways around that problem. So, don't know.
Maybe so.
Yeah, so I guess moral of the story, bring it on. And,
I want to see more. I'm so excited.
Doesn't hurt to try. All right. Any other thoughts? Should we move on to rants, raves?
Joke Man says, imagine the franchising items. Choose your own ending and having to buy your favorite version, or make sure you get the collector's edition with all 20 endings. He said 6, but had to push the number.
Good, fair point.
Absolutely.
I have the ultimate edition with the extra secret ending. Man, it's so awesome. You got to see him actually say 4 more words in 20 more seconds worth of film, man. It's so cool. I spent $100 on that. It's worth it.
I never got into any of that extra stuff. It was just like, no, not it. I don't care. All right, so rants, raves. Who's got what? What do you want to shout about?
Well, I'll go ahead and speak up. Okay, so next week I have my parents visiting.
Yay.
And this weekend, I'm going to sign up for a streaming service of some sort, primarily because they're coming to visit. And I was leaning toward going for the Hulu service, but I thought I'd throw it out there to you guys to help me decide. Should I try the Hulu service, or should I revert back to some of the ones we reviewed, like Sling or PlayStation? Which one do you think would be better in that situation?
So you're asking us.
You all, the chat room, anybody who wants to comment on it.
You don't have access to YouTube TV, right?
No, I don't.
So that one's out.
And what channels do they absolutely have to get?
Let's see. For my parents, my mom needs to see NBC. That has her soap opera on it.
Okay, that's easy.
My dad would want to see golf. And I don't know, maybe some old John Wayne movies or something of that sort.
I think doesn't Hulu streaming have? Because I know they have NBC because it's NBC is an owner. I'm pretty sure they have one of the golf channels.
Yes, I think you're right.
And plenty of John Wayne movies under Hulu.
Yeah.
So NBC kind of eliminates some of the stuff that you can't get locally. So it depends on whether you can get that local channel. But
PlayStation View does not have NBC. It has NBC on demand, but it does not have NBC live.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Hulu has the advantage.
I was going to say Hulu has the advantage since NBC is an owner.
Right, and they do have, and Hulu Live does have the DVR working, I think. So yeah, I mean, shoot, You can't go wrong with that choice. The only other option I can think of would be DirecTV, because they probably have NBC, but no
Yeah, I
DR.
don't know if I would gamble on DirecTV just because of all the other problems they were having.
That's true. So I think your first choice was a good option with Hulu, only because everything else just fails to measure up at this point.
Joe saying Sling is a good option.
Yeah, I was leaning toward Hulu. Sling, I think, was second, actually.
Yeah, we've tried Sling before, and I from what I hear, they're getting better.
Yeah. NBC is the only problem, and they have some local stations in some places, but I don't know if it's where you are.
Oh, Sling was talking about doing affiliate,
right?
The NBC, CBS, Jomon, but I don't think that's gone into effect yet because I think that was NBC saying we'll let you do it, but at some point when we get the people to on board,
right? They haven't got the deals actually inked out yet.
That's there yet.
They're just working on it.
All right. Good deal. Thank you all for having me decide.
Yeah, it's perfect chance for you to try out Hulu streaming and TV, and let us know how that's going.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome.
What about you, Matt?
Kind of like what we're here for, isn't it? Kind of just a little bit what we're supposed to do.
Isn't that a little meta?
A little bit, just a little. Yeah, it's definitely. For Father's Day, I got
we're just supposed to be video monitors. We're not
not tuners. We don't tune your video. We just monitor video.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm alluding to what is it, like Geico or something? I don't even know. Commercial where
I'm a security monitor, not a security
I'm a security
guard.
monitor, and so he just watches the people rob the bank because he's a security monitor.
Okay, I haven't seen this commercial. That sounds hilarious. But so you at least call in somebody and say, by the way, just so you know.
These guys come into the bank with guns and stuff, and everybody get down, and everybody hits the floor except the security monitor's just standing there, and ladies lying on the floor. Do something. He's like, oh, ma'am, I'm a security monitor, not a security guard.
That's hilarious. I wanted to say that I was they celebrated Father's Day this weekend, and for Father's Day I got one of Google Homes for me.
Oh.
It's okay. I want to just say a little something about this. I like Google Home. I like being able to talk to it and all that. It does its cool things. It's kind of fun to play some of the games it can get attached to. That's all fun too. But I want to say the speaker in this thing is decent. I mean, I wouldn't call this like some kind of monster speaker or anything like that. But it can get loud, and I'm happy with it. The sound that comes out of this thing. So. And the fact is, it's coming out and it's going to be able to be Bluetooth enabled, so you will be able to get one of these. And I'm very happy with the purchase. It's been fun. So, and I know a lot of people love their Alexas. Or I'm sorry, their Echoes.
See, and that's why the Apple announcement was so got so much ridicule from me, because the only thing that they really announced was it could play music and it's got really good speakers. Well, the Echo, the full-size Echo, and the Google Home already have pretty good speaker. The Dot, not necessarily because it's in such a small package, but so why is it 3 times the price and doesn't have half the features?
Because those speakers are huge, and it's got 7 in different directions, and the big
look like marshmallows.
It's right,
very large marshmallows.
I think it's two different things, though, really, right? So I think what Apple is going for, I think they're going for somebody who perhaps wants to buy maybe a couple of those for their home theater system, that type of thing. So those speakers could actually work with that. The question so you'd have to ask yourself, would you use your Google Home for your stereo system when you're watching movies on your big screen television? I don't know. Maybe so. I've not heard the Google Home. I can't say, but that's I think that's what Apple was going for. At least it seemed to be.
Apple didn't really talk much about the home theater functionality. They talked specifically about the quality of music, and it was really heavily focused about music. So I would say that the difference, Apple, like my perspective is Apple is purely trying to differentiate themselves on the quality of the audio that you're going to receive, and its heavy integration with the superior music library that Apple has through iTunes. So I feel like, Apple, while it probably does have a slightly better audio quality than Google Home and the Amazon Echo, I don't feel like I suspect it's not going to be enough to justify the incredibly steep price tag.
No,
but
no.
if it does work, as you are alluding, as a viable home theater solution, and you can put 7 of them around your room and just stick them wherever you want, then this might become a little bit more compelling. But even then, who
7
really
of
wants
them at $350 a pop?
Yeah.
Well,
A, you're talking about a ton of money, and B, you're talking about
well, I mean, my home theater system is a Bose system, and just for the speakers by themselves was $1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But
Yeah, but those are nice Bose speakers, not a little
Yeah,
marshmallow
but
thing.
they're also dumb speakers that I can't speak to, right?
Well, and they're small, so like if you wouldn't necessarily, in theory, if Apple's doing what they are claiming that they're doing, you wouldn't need 7 of them either. You could put 1 in each corner and replicate a home theater type setup, because you've got 7 speakers and you've got spatial awareness. So in theory, you could produce a pretty good sound stage with just like say 4, but still, yeah, you're talking over $1,000 for 4 of them, closer to $1,500, and you're talking about something that, is it really going to be competitive with a $1,500 set of speakers for your home theater? And you still would need some sort of interface for the theater. And so that's why I don't think this is actually going to be a home theater solution. They didn't talk about it, and you still would need some sort of tuner and a way for the Apple devices to communicate with that tuner. Normally, you plug each speaker into the port on the tuner that you need. And, I don't know how wireless solutions would work in that scenario. I'm sure that there's a way, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and keep in mind that these speakers were just announced. They're not even going to be on sale till December. Right.
Yeah,
there's speculation about a new Apple TV coming about that's supposedly going to have 4K. There's also rumors about having a 4K iTunes as well, right? So if they package all that together and they got this new protocol, the AirPlay 2 that they call it, perhaps. I mean, will that happen? I don't know. At this point, to me, yeah, Apple announced that they got these premium speakers, and they get a little bit of intelligence built into them with the Siri, and that this is going to be kind of a stereo system with the spatial features built into it, that gives it a little intelligence, right? As opposed to just spending the same amount of money on a set of Bose, right? That has no intelligence at all.
Yeah, I would say that even what I got out of my Amazon Echo was pretty impressive compared to other speakers of that size and of that kind of functionality and cost. I was pretty impressed. I haven't found a set of speakers that is in that kind of, I don't know, kind of like price setup. Like I can get some studio monitors and stuff like that are going to produce better sound, but they tend to cost more than that in general. And so, or like Sonos, where you're going to pay, again, pretty comparable, about $350 or something for a setup. So I think that what you get out of the Google Home and the Amazon Echo, it's a really good value for your money. I'm just really looking forward to when they start to branch out into greater functionality with communicating and interacting with multiple devices. And I think, hopefully, the one thing I hope we get out of this Apple announcement is that as they release the iMarshmallow, we will get better functionality and better communication between multiple devices, because right now you don't really have good functionality for having multiple echoes or multiple like taps and echoes in your house. Yeah. And same with Google Home. Like, you can have several, but they don't really work well together. They don't provide a great experience to have like 5. You can't have different zones doing different things, and you can't walk into the room and have it and say follow me or something like that and have it like carry the sound from that room into the next room. You can't connect them to have them be 2 speakers on your surround sound speaker system. So when they start getting into that kind of functionality, that's where I think that these things are going to be absolutely amazing, and people are going to go crazy over them. I think they're doing well now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the Echo is doing well as far as I can tell. I know a lot of people that have them and stuff. But once they start adding that kind of functionality, man, this is going to be game changing in my opinion, because that's where smart home becomes really intelligent.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think and I think it's a fair point what you make, Michael. I mean, if you're looking for a speaker to give you music in your home office while you're working, I think the Echo is the perfect choice, or the Google Home even, right? Either one of those are great choices for that, right? Would those speakers also be your home theater system? I don't know. I don't have one, so I can't really speak to it.
Not yet.
But I know my Bose theater system. The sound that comes out of those is really good. And if these iMarshmallow that you said it, the HomePod, I think is what it's called.
iHome,
the iPod, the HomePod, I think.
The HomePod.
Yeah. If these sound as good as those, and then it builds in some intelligence into it as well, maybe gives you the multi-room feature that you spoke of, Michael, then I think it could be a potential good product, right? So.
Pause officially jumped the shark. No, Poodle, you have no sound.
I agree. I said something similar. The other thing I would say that I would think it would be important. My other prediction on this is I think this is going to be Apple's biggest failure in recent years, because I think that they're coming into a market where they're so far behind. They're providing so little at least from what he proposed, that it's not terribly compelling. And they've given everybody enough head start, enough lead time to accommodate anything that Apple could have provided that would have given. I mean, in that amount of time, Sonos can add Amazon Alexa integration, and now you've got audiophile quality sound in wireless speakers with intelligence, right? Like, all you've got to do is add Alexa, sorry guys, to your Sonos, with the Sonos base station having a mic, or connecting directly to your tap so that you can use a tap or whatever. The Echo has another one too, or the Dot. So get some of that stuff sitting around, and boy, you've just taken an audiophile solution and made it a full smart home, which is what Amazon is claiming they're providing, what Apple's claiming they're going to provide. And in the amount of lead time that they've given everybody, Sonos or any other company could come out and produce something that meets or exceeds that, and there's no reason for Apple to be even be in the market. Now they won't totally flop, I don't think. And the reason I say that is just because they've got the built-in user base with the iTunes community, right? Mm-hmm. People that are already paying for Apple Music and iTunes, and where their whole world lives in Apple. This is a no-brainer for them, because if you want speakers, why would you get something else that you have to find a way to connect to your solution? as opposed to this, which are already connected. But this is not going to bring them new customers, I don't think, and it's not going to be a big success for them, because I think that the only people that are going to buy it are people that are already fully committed to the ecosystem. And even that, it's not going to be like a need thing. People are going to be okay just saying, yeah, I don't really need that. Not at that price.
I didn't mean to have such a long discussion about the Apple iPods, about me just saying that I got a Google Home. So.
No, that was my fault. I steered that at Jimmy. I shot across his back.
Well, I missed that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I knew he had a few things he wanted to say on that. So, hey, for me, as I alluded to earlier, Amazon. Last month, I went ahead and did the whatever trial for Anime Strike on Amazon. Try it out. Service is decent. Selection. And that's why I did the trial, because there was only a couple shows. There's only a few shows under the English dubbed that I was interested that I hadn't seen. And so I tried it. And normally the trials, if you don't specifically click continue trial after, whatever, then it usually just turns off. And that was what, people raved about with Amazon. Well, last week, I noticed, Anime Strike is still in my list. And I looked, and sure enough, no, I'm paying for it. And I'm like, and I've only got 2 weeks left in the month. So like I said, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff. I've been watching a lot of stuff, but it's all been on here to knock out these series so I can cancel it. So I don't have to pay for another month to finish.
Have you been billed second time?
It billed the first time. I haven't gotten to the end of the month yet, so it just happened to coincide at the beginning of the month, was because it was the last week of last month that I did the trial. So I've got a little more than a week to knock out, I think, one more series, and then I can cancel it. But also, for those of you out there that are paying attention, W. Scottish One wanted me to let you guys know this Friday's Jackbox stream is going to be 12 hours.
Ooh.
They are starting it at 7:30 Eastern Time on Friday night, and it's going to go until 7:30 Saturday morning, which just happens to coincide with the network TV premiere of Scam School on the Science Channel. 7:30 Eastern on Saturday. So, if you find yourself with some time, you want to hang out with some crazy people doing crazy things on the internet, go to diamondclub.tv or at any point between 7:30 and 7:30 Friday night to Saturday morning.
Very cool.
And we thank W. Scottish One for his support of this show. All right. Anybody else got anything else before we get out of here? No?
No.
Silence? All right.
I think we said it all.
Thank you so much for hanging out. Jotman and Strengths in the chat, thank you. All you out there watching this after the fact, we broadcast every Wednesday night live on diamondclub.tv. Otherwise, you can find our past episodes on YouTube. Just search for the VOD Squad. I will be uploading that once we get done. And I guess that's it. So, I will see you guys later.
Bye, everyone.
Later, everybody.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.